This is a presentation of the United States Australian Football League, the USAFL.
Alex C, back pocket. Okay.
Hey, voice.
All right.
Use your voice all day. Use your voice, okay? Swannaroos on three. 1, 2, 3. Swannaroos.
Let's go, boys.
1, 2, 3.
Strong in that quarter was fantastic.
We're back here in Austin, Texas, one of the most beautiful cities anywhere in North America, and the very spacious Onion Creek Soccer Sports Complex here just south of downtown, and we have a rip snorter for you as the hometown Austin Crows take on the Golden Gate Roos in this, the first semifinal in Men's Division I. The Roos looking to get back to the grand final for the first time in Men's Division I in 6 years, while the Austin Crows are looking to win and make it to the grand final in search of their 6th consecutive national championship and a record-breaking 9th overall. Good afternoon, everyone. Brian Barish back here with you, joined in the commentary position by USA Revolution player, coach, and current head of the USAFL International Program, Dan Sarbacker. Good afternoon, Sars.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
I am great. I am ready. We are getting down to the pointy end of the season. The Cooper's Beer Tent is filling up across the way, and just as it does, more and more people as teams finish up their weekend and finish up their season, getting ready to watch some really, really good football. Of course, the finals coming up after this semifinal match. One of these two teams will play at the last game of the day at 4:15 local time against the winner of the game going on behind us between between Denver and Quebec. But let's take a quick look at how these two teams got here, Sars. Both of them had a little bit of different paths to get here.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Brian, these are the last puzzle pieces we have to put in place before finals. All the other finals are determined. I think a bit of advanced calculus involved in the Women's Division I to determine who's in the finals there. But these two semifinals, the last pieces of the puzzle. Austin gets here by virtue of 2 victories in the pool play yesterday. They had a win first against Quebec in very, very convincing fashion. Repeat the score here for a 12-12-84 to 0-1-1 over the Quebec Saints. And then a win against New York late yesterday afternoon in the 5 o'clock slot, 10-4-64 to the Magpies 3-1-19. Golden Gate 1-1. They finished second in their pool. Denver winning that pool over there. Golden Gate started the day with a win against the Sacramento Suns, 4-7-31 against 1-4-10. Kicking let them down a little bit there, but they came out winners anyway. In the afternoon affair against Denver was a tightly contested match that I got to call. Denver just a little bit cleaner with hands, runs out 5-3-33 to 0-6-6. So we have the top seed, Austin, winning their pool by virtue of 2 victories yesterday. Golden Gate 1-1 on the day yesterday. Should be a ripping semifinal.
Should really be a good one. And Golden Gate has given Austin, really, they've played in grand finals twice, and Austin won both times, 2016 and 2018. That 2018 game, Sars, I'll tell you what, Austin looked like they were home and hosed, but Golden Gate scoring 2 goals, almost getting a third to pip them at the wire, but Austin held on. The umpire is ready, and so are we. Men's Division I semifinal underway. The Austin Crows wearing the dark blue jumpers with the white shorts. They're heading from left to right towards the Onion Creek end of the ground, while the Golden Gate Roos wearing the dark jumpers with the orange bridge on it. And right off the bat, they are headed towards Tournament Central. Marked nicely there by Stu Turner. He's going to turn around and go inside 50 for the first time. Almost marked by Brian Dragus. In fact, they are going to pay it. And the former Golden Gate Roo in Brian Dragus takes the mark. And you know what? When he played for the Roosars, he was big back in the forward line. The Crows have utilized him as a defensive player.
Yeah, I mean, he's tall timber, was international player on a Revolution team that I coached back in 2011. Obviously really good aerialist, and you'd expect those guys whether forward or in back, good in the air.
And a good defensive play, speaking of which, by Robert Nolan. One of when we talk about in Division I, as they come out to the near side, it's going to be picked off by Rucksack. Rucksack's going to turn inboard up to the top of the goal square, almost taking the mark. Immaculate Conception's around, soccered off the ground, and it's just to the right. Is just getting his foot to the ball was Zach McKinney, and it's 1-0 Austin on the Watch AFL scoreboard. And that's a good segue. You're obviously keeping an eye out for players for the Revolution in addition to the Freedom team as well. But talk about some of the players. Zach McKinney, of course, had a really good Transatlantic Cup. There's a few players on both sides who have been good, not just this year, but in previous.
Yeah, both these sides are loaded with Revolution list players, as you might anticipate. Some of the better sides have some of the better players, right? Ultimately, in my new role, I'm getting more and more distant from the player list and coaching activities. The coaches will work with their player lists and perform camps and tournaments and exhibition games. In our derby match with Canada, of course, but I'm going to be more focused on strategic work and such with my new role. So happy to see the Revolution guys out here, but to be perfectly frank, I'm getting less familiar with the list as the days go on.
I think that's a good point. But I mean, it's good to see the amount of American talent, especially on these top teams. It's also good to see them, and we've seen them across a number of divisions in the lower in Division II, and not only that, but also on the women's side as well. Going to be a free kick, and they're going to have an opportunity to have the ball up here. It is 1-0 Austin is the score, as the ball will come spinning back into play, and it's going to be a free kick.
Seeing good signs from Golden Gate early. As Austin was attacking down here, Golden Gate was actually able to help flood that fat side delivery, stymieing the efforts there. And just recently now building up the far side. Tends to be the winded side of this ground, Brian, as we learned yesterday, and getting some production out of it.
And Golden Gate does get it because they have kicked the goal. So they go to 1 straight 6 on the Watch AFL scoreboard. Austin 1 behind. Unofficially speaking, we're 3 minutes into this first half. Ball goes up high in the air. Ball gets knocked down. It gets kicked forward, and it's off the hands there of the man in, not Chenoweth, but rather Aaron Cook. And let's see if he can bake up something good, except baking is not cooking. Those are two different things. As going up on the far side now and going to take it before the ball went out of bounds. We'll have a boundary throw in the half forward flank pocket. Again, 6-1. Golden Gate the lead. Winner on to the grand final at 4:15 Central Time today. Ball comes back in now, going to get knocked free. Big hit. Oh, my goodness. It was like a car crash, almost like the one we witnessed on I-35 yesterday, as there's a little handball around, except that was under completely different circumstances. Spinning free there was Hazelton, and he moves the ball forward. It's like a rugby mall situation. Kicks this one on to the right. 2-on-1 contest, and out the back. Taking the mark was Cox. He comes out to the near side. Nolan Cox is another guy who's transitioned into a defensive role. He has a bounce, has a look, has a second bounce. Now looks up and finds a target. Nice job picking that one off. A blade of grass by Tom O'Sullivan.
You mentioned that transition. I'll be interested to see if there's any adjustments from Austin. Currently, Golden Gate winning the ruck taps out of the middle, getting the ball moving forward on every ruck tap we've seen out of the center square.
Gelati, left-footed kick right in front, and that one goes off to the side. Austin is up and about here. They're getting their chances, but they are trailing by 4 points. Watch AFL scoreboard. Austin 2 behinds. Golden Gate 1 straight 6. So 6-2, back to a 4-point lead. About 5 minutes gone here opening term. Again, that's an unofficial call. As, again, the Crows, 8-time national champions. They've won 3 of those D1 titles on this ground, 2013, 2015, and 2021. As that one goes up over the top, going and chasing that one after it is Gelati. Gelati ducks his head in. Big tackle, big job. The throw down Drew Bywater. And if he would have tackled him any hard, that's probably what he would have done. And it's given as a free kick to the Crows up on the far side, over the intense side of the ground, because there are people over there.
Nice tackle from Giggs.
Intense.
Yeah, intense. Nice tackle from Giggs on the far side there. Revolution list player. We got to interview him yesterday after a great effort.
Yeah, and Giggs, hey, listen, he's having a fantastic summer. He was one of those players that really was a good link-up player for the Revolution, for Kyle Strensky's side, and it was really especially evident in that game against Canada. He plays extremely well. He's one of their. I think sometimes he's overlooked by some of the other, because of some of the other Americans, but he is one of their more consistent performers. And now they have taken the lead as they have split that one right through the middle, and Austin takes the lead for the second time today. On the Watch AFL scoreboard, it is Austin 1 goal, 2 behinds, 8 points. Golden Gate 1 straight 6. And a good ball movement there was all set up by Gelati's, as we were saying, by his hustle.
Far side, right at midfield, that tackle there turns the ball over. Austin able to get the ball moving forward from there. It's that sort of resilience through the mid lines that can often repulse those efforts by the opposition. Get them back in transition defensively as you're moving forward.
Absolutely. As we come back in the middle of the score on the Watch AFL scoreboard, Austin 1 goal, 2 behinds, 8 points. Golden Gate 1 straight 6. And the ball comes out to the near side now. Going to get picked up by Brown, as now here's Money Merritt. A little bit of a handball sent forward there deeply by Barr, I believe, as the ball comes down the ground. Now it handballs out to the near side. Here comes O'Sullivan looking again out in front of the Gridiron Productions tent, and the ball he's pushed out of bounds there as Stu Turner. We've called his name a couple of times today.
First good look here at the Rucks with the boundary throw. Tim Linfeld's been dominating in the middle thus far.
And he is another guy. He's been around a long darn time. As our friend Grilla, who is roaming around the grounds here, would say, he's been around. He's like snake oil. He's been around a long time. Nice mark over the top. Taking that one there was McKinney once again. He's really presenting himself well, sending this one inside to the top of the goal square. Crash boom opera as it comes by, and now going and picking that one off and kicking that one with the left foot down the ground. As going after one of those hop, skip, and jump in the air. Bywater again going after it. The boundary line wins and will go out of bounds. Once again, our thanks to our sponsors, of course, Tasmania, the quiet pursuit of the extraordinary. Glad to have everybody here, Emily and all of the rest of the crew, as well as Cooper's Beer. And, of course, the Cooper's Beer tent directly to our left. And, of course, how about Visit Austin? As we said, they're welcoming us back here for the 5th time in history.
We'll be scratching 100 here with the heat, Brian. You think anyone's going to have any wine or beer today?
Listen, you have to hydrate, and by hydrate I mean with water. So I feel like if you balance everything in moderation, everything in balance, it's very zen. I mean, I'm not Buddhist, but I know a Buddhist priest who will probably tell me the same thing. She plays for Denver.
Big thanks to those sponsors. It's going to taste good today.
It really is, especially if you win. And there will be, as the mark was taken nicely by Andrew Hazelton, or is that Livy?
Dan Livy.
It is Dan Livy. Well, they screwed up. Of course, it's Golden Gate, so they have a tendency to do that from time to time. Dan Livy not only named to the All-Australian team, or the All-TAC team, but also the captain of that team.
Yeah, he had an outstanding tournament in Toronto for the American side that came up just short in the finals, and he's an important link-up member for them. Playing on quickly, he knows the value of that. That's going to get the Roos these opportunities.
Handballed out of bounds under pressure. That was Alex Maybury, RFD, and the ball goes out of bounds. That's for you fans of Andy Griffith and company, as we will have a boundary throw in right in front of Dan Sarbacker, as well as Kevin and the rest of the crew here on Gridiron Productions. Our thanks to them for the second consecutive year and bringing this tournament to you around the world. Here is McKinney. Big booming kick inside the 50-meter arc. Everybody forms, almost taken out the back there. Picking that one up was Rucksack as he goes behind. It's a turnaround shot on goal, but just was offline to the right side, and they extended their lead by 1 point. Watch AFL scoreboard. Austin 1-3-9. Golden Gate 1 straight 6 with Dan Sarbacker just about the halfway point of the first half.
Yes, Austin showing a bit of class. Steph Barr was mopping up at the back of that pack there, got him moving forward. Golden Gate first hands on the ball, nose over the football, but no options. Steph Barr takes that the other direction and forward 50 entry.
And here they come once again, and right now they're starting to assert themselves, as he said, but we have a whistle, and it will be a free kick. It was high contact, so Golden Gate will get Austin will get a free kick. And I think the key is, Golden Gate is not going to back down from them. And I think looking at this, you would tend to think that Golden Gate may be the second best team in the country vis-a-vis Denver. I think it's almost interchangeable. But in any event, he's going to stride forward here. The kick is from 45 meters out. The kick is up on the way. It tails right. And umpire Sid Caesar taps himself, points, and says, you, boom. Something like that.
Yeah,
a bit of a
diagonal wind. It's not straight downfield, and it's not straight across. He maybe gave the wind a little more credit than it deserved on that. Kick was started a little further right than needed to be. Austin benefiting from some push of the wind here in the first half.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We were keeping an eye on the wind. I think the forecast, in fact, the conditions officially are at 11 miles an hour with gusts up to 19. That is a couple of miles an hour stronger than it was. I think it's kind of negligible when you're talking about 2 or 3 miles an hour, but definitely this may be the scoring end, especially, but you know how Austin is. They're good in any weather. Not quite the Richmond Tigers, but along the same as the ball goes out of bounds, and we will have a free kick, it appears, before that.
Austin trying the chaos ball approach there for the forward 50 entry. Golden Gate very much up to the task, got a couple of clever handballs in. It looked like they were going to break out, but an effort by Austin to smother that off the Golden Gate boot, and so we're out for a throw-in.
I think if any team was adept at this, I think it might be a free kick. It will be. That's Alex Mabry.
Maybe out on the full then.
We did see the umpire, or at least I did. I saw the umpire pointing. So it will be a free kick up the far side to Alex Mabry, the Perth native from played for the Denver Bulldogs at one point. So he knows this contest very well, as this one is turned on a dime by O'Sullivan. Did it make the journey? Yes, it did, and a great job by Ben Carpenter-Wanyanwu to shepherd away 2 players in the goal square. Second goal of the game. As we take a look at it again, good job turning on a dime. I think it was O'Sullivan with the goal. 2-4-16 for Austin on the Watch AFL scoreboard. 1 straight 6 for Golden Gate. It's out to a 10-point lead.
Golden Gate needs to stay in touch here, not let Austin run out too far. Again, a little bit of wind advantage. Golden Gate will benefit from that in the second half. Sticking with what's working, Tim Limfeld's having success in the ruck here. See if Golden Gate can collect this ball out of the middle, get it moving forward for a center square clearance.
About 13 minutes gone in this about 13 minutes gone in this game, in this first half. We're playing 2 20-minute halves here at the 2024 USAFL National Championships here in Austin, Texas. Dan Brown will go backwards. He gets a handball off, finally got a little help from his friends in Joe Cocker fashion, but it was slightly better than the Beatles, but almost as good as the Beatles there was that tackle, but not as big as Jesus, something along those lines. You got to be very careful saying stuff like that here in Texas, as going after the ball was Aaron Cook and Brian Hitch as the ball went out of bounds.
Throw in there. Thought there might have been a call for insufficient attempt to keep it in.
Big kick there by Turner once again. Overkicked the pack. Now going to pick that one up. Handball up over the top. Once again, that's Cook. Cookie will go in the middle and put that one out on a dime. Going and getting that one and popping that one forward was Derek Nutty, who sends that one down. And we have a whistle. Pushing the back is called. It's coming out in the other direction. Free kick for the... I was trying to see who the umpire is. We'll have a free kick going back in the other way. We do have a listing of umpires. We will get those to you.
Brian Moy, 47 there, getting up a little tenderly. His big collision.
Yeah. And he might be saying that, Moy, as the ball is trying to get high over the top again was Nutty. And then he is wrapped up for Christmas right in front of the Gridiron Productions broadcast commentary position. Umpire tosses the ball to the heavens. Gravity takes effect, so do the big men. Nutty was in there, knocked it down in front of Turner. Turner turns around with it and then sent back in the direction by Ben May. He sends this one in. The high flyers fly, and there was contact in that contest, and the free kick will be the Roos will have a chance to shake the old Etch-a-Sketch and draw something new. With about 15 minutes gone unofficially, Austin 2-4-16, Golden Gate 1 straight 6. Brian Barish alongside Dan Sarbacker from the USAFL International Program. Glad to have your company here on USAFL USAFL.com, thanks to GridironProductions.com. As this one is sent high and a good connection, I think he got under the ball a little bit more than he wanted to, but it worked out okay. Moy takes the catch. I don't know that was paid. I didn't hear a whistle. Nice weighted pass over, and it's picked off. Here comes Wilkerson as he goes back into the middle of the ground, running through like a house on fire is Nolan Cox. He'll stay with the football. Dogpile on the rabbit. Throw a blanket over 5 players. Everybody playing the human chair game. But it's going to be a free kick as that one was picked out.
Yeah, Nolan trying to claim that he didn't bring it in, but just holding your hands up isn't sufficient. When it's underneath you, you've got to make an effort to get it out.
Sending this one forward, and it's going to be 50. He absolutely came over the mark.
2 mistakes there in a row, a couple of mental things. He's hanging his head. He's not getting back on the mark, and they could play on from here. He has nobody on the mark.
Well, he's running on. Let's see. He's keeping an eye forward, and I'd love to tell you who this is, but we don't have a 37 here for Golden Gate. And setting up here. Kick into the wind is on the way. It looks good off the boot, and the goal umpire agrees. Second goal of the game for the Golden Gate Roos. Hey, we got a ball game, folks. The Roos go to 2 straight 12. Austin 2-4-16 as we take a look at this kick once again by the unnamed number 37, just sneaking inside the goalpost.
Nolan Cox probably wasting his breath trying to convince the umpire otherwise, and the umpire is explaining to him why the call, the way it went down. Nolan not happy. Doesn't matter. There's 6 on the board for the Roos.
And Nolan says, "Do you know who my brother is?" We hear lots of whistles. I think it's from the field behind us. This is we're in peak Nationals mode. As SARS cranes his neck to maybe perhaps give us a score update.
We get it. 3 goals, 18. So 3 straight kicks, 18 to 1-2.
I
1-2-8.
can probably guess who that is, but we made the assumption yesterday that Quebec lost to New York, but you know what happens when you assume, and I'll let you figure that out because it's not exactly family friendly. As we have the ball back in the air once again with about 17 and a half minutes gone in this first half. Again, 2 20-minute halves as they play up on the far side. Now this one's going to get sent in high. Who wants it? Touches 4 hands. Is going to play the mark, and they're going to send this one on down the ground. Going out on the far side now as the ball is marked. Looking to go as the ball was just marked on the line there by Stefan Barr. Barr bams this one up high. Who wants it? Nice mark coming over the top, and they'll have a chance in front. A good mark and a textbook holding the ball up high. And give it to number 13 and Keith Rusak.
So here's one of the reasons Austin's as good as they are. That delivery, that lead and that delivery are the right spot. Oftentimes in these games, Brian, we see leads come out. These teams tend to pin themselves in the pockets, but where that lead led to and the delivery
is a goal. We'll just make mention of that. A goal has been scored. Austin goes to 3-4-22. It's back to a 10-point lead. Go ahead and finish your thought.
Yeah, where that lead was is the dangerous spot. So when he takes that mark, right, he's in goal range. He's effective out in front because he's not at a angle, and if the ball spills, they've not pinned themselves down in a pocket where they're ineffective.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's been the difference between the size and not only that, but that's been the sustained success of Austin. We are going to give you a score line thanks to
confirmation. That's Denver next door.
Yep.
3 goals, 1-19 to 1 goals, 2-8.
Of course, the winner of that game will play the winner of this game, and we may be headed, unless Quebec can come from behind, we may be headed for a third confrontation between Austin and Denver. Actually, it would be a fourth in the last 5 years. The only exception was the last time we were in Austin, Texas, when Austin accounted for New York, the second highest score in a Division I Grand Final in the process. But the Bulldogs faced them in 2019, in 2022, and last year. So Denver looking the goods, but so is Austin at the moment as we come down towards the final seconds. Golden Gate has done a pretty good job of staying with them, as it appears they are going to have the win in this second half upcoming. But let's finish out the first, and there it is, as Carpenter Wanyanwu picked up, and the Hooter hoots. And at the end of the first 20 minutes of play, it's the Austin Crows, 3 goals, 4 behinds, 22 points. The Golden Gate Roos, 2 straight goals, 12. It's a 10-point margin. And SARS, I think Austin, with the wind, as they normally are, as you said, they're picking out their spots well. They're being very accurate. But Golden Gate, especially with the wind not out of this, they have to be. But I would also say that in order for Golden Gate to win, I think they have to play a perfect half, and they have to win the contests more.
Yeah, obviously a tightly contested game. We saw there about 10 seconds before the end of the half. Crunching tackles, Steph Barr, Christian Merritt for Austin. They were threatening again there towards the end, and that's been indicative of the whole half. Both sides applying a lot of pressure back and forth. Difference sometimes. What is Golden Gate doing well? What makes a difference for them? Tim Linfeld's been key in the ruck. He's getting first hand to the ball. So Golden Gate's been able to read off of that and get some clearances out of the center. Austin, conversions, build-ups off the wing often, and they've been taking those marks and converting goals inside 50.
And again, we've hammered it a bunch of times. It's the conversion rate. Not only the how often you get inside 50, but the converting the inside 50s and all of that other stuff. That is, if you do that at a high level, you're going to win more often than not. Now, you can do it. We've seen it in Division 2 and Division 3 and some of the other divisions, including the interdivisional games over the years. But that's the difference between where the Austin Crows are and where some of the other teams in the league. We're going to step aside, come right back for the second half of this one. Austin leads by 10 points. You're watching the 2024 USAFL National Championships thanks to Gridiron Productions here on USAFL.com.
The USAFL 2024 Nationals is brought to you by Tasmanian, the quiet pursuit of the extraordinary. Cooper's, Australian made and owned. Cooper's Beer. Visit Austin, live music capital of the world. Aussie Sports USA, the official apparel provider of the USAFL. Qantas Airlines, the spirit of Australia. The Australian Consulate General, Houston. Three Cuts Gin. Odin Mortgage and Tax. CyberSolve IQ, the inaugural cybersecurity partner of the USAFL. And by USAFL Foundation. Play on.
And we're back for the second half of this one, this Division I semifinal. The Golden Gate Roos trailing the Austin Crows by 10 points. Underway here in the second half of football. Brian Barish alongside Dan Sarbacker from the USAFL International Program. Great to have you along. And
thanks, Brian. We've got two halves of football to decide the grand final. One in front of us, one behind us.
I love it. You're absolutely right. As we mentioned over here, it's a 10-point difference. It's an 11-point difference directly behind us. Denver in front. And again, we are on a collision course for an Austin-Denver grand final. But there are two teams, as you say, one behind us, one in front of us, that will have something very much to say about that. And speaking of the grand finals, we want to tell you, while we can here, a quick rundown of all the finals that are coming up. Division 5, the grand final will be North Carolina against the New York Reserves Wasatch Wargulls combination. Division 4, which will be at 1 o'clock behind us, will feature the Denver Bulldogs Reserves and the Oklahoma Buffaloes. The Division 3 grand final will be right here starting at 1 o'clock. That'll be the next game. The Chicago Swans taking on the Calgary Kangaroos. The Division 2 grand final, which will be at 2 p.m. Central Time, will feature the Houston Lone Stars and Seattle Grizzlies. The Division 1 women's grand final will be the Golden Gate Iron Maidens and the Minnesota Freeze. That'll be the third year in a row for that matchup as well. And then, of course, at 4:15 Central, it'll be this game, the winners of the two semifinals that are happening. As the ball is up on the far side now, and it'll be sent forward. Going after it again as here comes Austin. They're kicking towards the Bob Seeger side, which is against the wind, as the ball gets taken down right in front of us by one Stephen Barr. Barr with a kick off the side of his shoe, but good job by Rucksack to find it, and he'll go back and have a kick into the wind from about 55 meters out. Spears it across, and he picks it. He does a good job of picking out the man there, and Ben May. And May, who has won quite a few of these premierships, including on this ground, will go back and have a crack. Reckon it'll be a left to right wind. That's exactly how he plays it. At what point did it cut across? It looked like a swing ball, and they are appealing for, well, let's see what was given here. I think it was given as a goal. It was. It absolutely was, and you could see that the Roos were appealing, saying that it didn't go through, but that goal umpire is way closer than any one of us, and that is the fourth goal of the game for the Crows. They go to 4-4-28. Golden Gate, 2 straight 12. That was awfully close, SARS, but I think it did sneak through.
Yeah, I think so too. We had a pretty good angle on it and looked like it was through for a goal. Just peeking at first half stats here, really, really even across the board, and you'd expect that from what we've seen out on the ground. Austin a little bit better, taking a few more contested grabs and marks that converted to goals.
Ball comes back in the middle of the ground once again. Is that going to be the nail in the coffin of this one? They have a chippy. Do the Crows do? But he's up in the forward line. Going to get picked up and go forward. Here is McKinney. Just got the kick away. It was kind of a grubber. In fact, if it was any more grubber, it would be an insectarium. Little chip kick over the top by Barr. Going to get taken down. There's a kick off the side once again. In front, juggle. Oh, 2 bites of the cherry, but he couldn't swallow it. He ended up having to spit out the pits, did Ben Carpenter Wanyanwu, and then a little bit of taking down after the play, and in fact, he's calling him over, and I think we're going to see a card here because it was after the fact. In fact, it is, and so just seeing who's leaving the field here, it is going to be the number 16, Robert Nolan. And once again, the yellow card rules perhaps a little bit different. He is off the ground for he's going to end up being off the ground for 10 minutes. He will be able to be replaced. So
yeah, what do you call it? The minor of the two cards,
yeah.
The smaller of the two infractions, less severe. So replaceable, but the player himself won't return to the ground for a spell.
And to add insult to injury, it is Ben Carpenter Wanyanwu, the former Montrose Football Club player, who kicks that one somewhere into the stratosphere, and his team's 5th goal. 5-4-34 to the Crows. 2 straight 12 for Golden Gate. That's on the Watch AFL scoreboard, and this is looking like it's going to get ugly really quickly.
There's a chance. Austin with a great start in the second half. Coach for Golden Gate's got to be just shaking his head. Those mental mistakes that just cost the team like that, stuff that's unnecessary. They were within touch. I think if they get a response goal here, they stay within touch. If they give up another one to third straight to Austin, this gets out of hand.
As the ball comes back in the middle once again, we're underway. Again, the Austin Crows, their history, they were founded in 2002. They've made it to the Division III Grand Final in 2008. Moved up to Division II, lost to Dallas that year in Mason, Ohio. 2 years later, they met them again in the D2 Grand Final. Dallas went on to win that one, but it's been really just amazing how the Crows have put so many winning teams together, and now we're starting to see it with their women's side as they entered the day at 2-0. I believe they're playing now, and they'll have the last game over on Field 2 with a chance to win their third consecutive Division II Women's Championship, and that's a fantastic sign of growth, SARS. As much as the 8 national championships is, it's great when you do that. It's amazing when you can do it at more than one level.
Yeah, of course. You've got some clubs, and Sacramento's a great example, who's won at multiple levels. Houston, those clubs that grow and hang premiership banners on account of their efforts at whatever level they're playing at.
Yeah, and we're seeing, especially on the women's side, more teams, and we mentioned Baton Rouge, a couple of other teams as well, as the mark is taken quickly there by Shea Killey. Killey will send this one in. It will drop through. There's a man out the back. He slams it home, and he may have slammed the door. He may have almost took out the goal umpire in the process. Keith Rusak may have slammed the door on this semifinal. Austin go to 6-4-40, 2 straight 12, Golden Gate. Watch AFL scoreboard. Thanks to Tasmanian, thanks to Coopers, and thanks to you, Dan Sarbacker.
Yeah, how did we end up with that last goal? The kind of final result there, Steph Barr leads that defender underneath that ball. So he's out of position, ball scoots over the top, Steph reads it like that, and then you see that Austin player sneak into the backside. Prior to that, though, inboard ball through Tim Linfelt for Golden Gate earlier, through 15, McKenzie, and ill-advised, he went back into the high traffic side where there wasn't an opportunity for Golden Gate to link up, and that got turned over.
We talk about expansion of the clubs and everything else. We should probably bring up the fact that there is a youth game happening directly across from us, the first ever youth game with boys and girls between the ages of 13 and 18, and it's amazing to see that initiative in its first season, at least in the reboot, Burkrow, in the way that they've done it. And I know that, there's a lot of clubs, if we can make this an annual thing, not just from the clubs that are around here locally, but also ones that, perhaps make it a family affair and they get involved as well.
Yeah, you're right, Brian. It's fun to see that happening. Kids probably have been growing up with mom or dad playing, and they want to have a run themselves. My 3 miniature humans got Sharon's for Christmas last year, so great to see youth game developing, and that'll help the game grow here in the States as well.
My daughter knows, my 4-year-old knows what a football is, and that's pretty good. But I think she'll look at the gridiron game and ask if that's Papa's football, and I'll say no, it isn't. As the ball goes down, she did look at baseball and say, look, cricket. So at least I have some influence in that respect.
Well, you've got her trained up then.
Yeah, either fortunately or unfortunately. As the ball gets, it's going to be a ball up directly across from us again on the Watch AFL scoreboard. Austin 6-4-40. Golden Gate 2 straight 12. He's Dan Sauerbacker. I'm Brian Barish. Great to have your company. Our thanks to Gridiron Productions for bringing this to 2024 USAFL National Championships presented by Tasmanian. Our thanks to them for being involved once again. And I'll tell you what, looking very forward to having them with us in season 20. Having us as well for over the last couple of years, and also looking at having the Tasmanian Devils in the AFL over the next couple of seasons.
Yeah, super exciting. I got involved in 2011 with the International Cup and U.S. team playing in Sydney when the Giants launched, and expansion clubs are fun, expansion years are fun, so looking forward to that.
Ball is up on the far side now, and the ball is marked, at least it looked like it was. It's going out of bounds. And it was marked as a free kick going across from us. Good spoil out of there by Daniel Brown. He's the best defender in the whole damn town, and now he gets the ball back. He gets the ball from Rucksack. Looking for it is Nolan Cox, or over the top. He takes the mark in front of the late arriving Alex Maybury. He plays it into the middle of the ground. It is marked and back the other way. Wagons ho time, except, a little bit of pushing and shoving. Oh, got taken down there right at the end, and perhaps a late hit, but slow to get up, as we've seen some frustration really on both sides. We've already seen one yellow card.
Yeah, and those generally are just unnecessary. That's almost always mental, and puts your team at a disadvantage. So it's a bit of a selfish play.
Ball gets speared forward. Nice mark taken by Nolan Cox. Coxie has been arguably their best player over the last couple of seasons. He's gone through, he's kicked that one in, and is going to look through, and he's kicked another goal. Austin has their 7th, 7-4-46, 2 straight 12, about 9 minutes to go unofficially, and I think we can scribble in Austin into the grand final.
Yeah, probably. Canutti doing the ruck work here. Austin, an embarrassment of riches. Dragus able to take ruck taps for them in the back lines. Cox able to take ruck taps in the forward line or play forward for them. So a lot of tall timber right up the spine for Austin, and that's tough to compete with.
Around the grounds, thanks to Tasmanian, shows the Denver Bulldogs 4-1-25, leading the Quebec Saints 2-4-16, about 5 minutes to go in that one. And it looks like, once again, as we've said, Austin and Denver for the 3rd consecutive year in Men's Division 1, and for the 4th time in 5 years, as the ball is sent up on the far side. It's going to get taken down, and here they go. They're going to kick the ball forward as they look for it once again. Here's a kick in front. It's going to drop in front, going to get kicked out of the back, as just got the ball away, and that one is dangerously close to the boundary line. It did stay in play, I believe, as appealing for a free kick there was Aaron Cook. I don't know that he's going to get it, and it will be a free kick.
Score update for you, Brian, next door. Denver leading 25-16. So 2 straight kicks, and Quebec would pull back in front over in that other semifinal.
We've mentioned a couple of times, we've mentioned it's got to be probably about 4 minutes to go now. For every goal, you have to figure that that there's 30 seconds less, because there is no time on. So you have to really figure that they've got a minute less than they really do, as the ball is taken in front. Golden Gate would love to get a goal here, perhaps ask a couple of questions here, but time is becoming short if they want to try and do the thing, and that is maybe perhaps end Austin's death grip over Men's Division 1. There's no other way to really put it.
No, they've been the class side of the comp the last few years, although in more than one of those grand finals, Denver's had leads and Austin's clawed back. So Denver would want to win that semifinal for sure and get another crack at
I
them.
think 2022 may have been the closest of those 4 encounters. And and look, Austin went through the season undefeated for the first time since 2019. In all those other years, Denver has been the team to hand them at least one loss. So no other team has done it. Golden Gate had come close. In fact, they came close in the what essentially was a semifinal 2 years ago, and came up, I think, if I remember correctly, just 1 point short. So it is a situation where it is possible to do. It's just a matter of doing it in the one game that matters above all else, as the mark is taken well, and Barr went back, and we'll try and kick it. There was a whistle there, but now I think he's just looking around, and he will play what normally would be a very dangerous ball, but to Brian Dragus, wide open, it's not. The risk isn't as there, but he overcooks the kick, looking for the man in Matthew Rouse, and Rouse goes after the football. Going to get picked up, little handball. Rouse gets the ball back. It looks like the Harlem Globetrotters, but he turned it over. Not a good one, as Declan McCarthy found the ball in his breadbasket.
Quite lucky there, Golden Gate. They actually had fewer numbers there on this side after the switch of play by Austin.
Ball comes down now, and going to get it, as Merritt threw in a bump there for Turner. Going to throw this one in. Nice mark again, presenting well was Ben May. May with the football. Yes, he is the son of Tim May, the cricketer. As nice mark by Grant Campbell. And Cambo, who former President Dennis Ryan referred to as the Peter Dacos of the USAFL. So some footballing jiggery-pokery, sending this one down inside the 50-meter arc. Long handball out in front, but the ball skitters free like a cockroach on the bathroom floor. Oh, look like some Grey Poupon there, sending that one inside the 50-meter arc, but I think all of that's going to come back. And we're just double-checking here to see what's happened, and it is going to be a free kick. We'll go the way of Golden Gate. They trail by 34 points, 15-plus minutes gone here in this final term, but it looks like, as we said, the Crows are going to head on once again as they send this one down the line. Back the other way it goes. Play on, says the umpire, waving his hands like he just does care as the ball goes near the Cooper's Beer tent. And if you're within the sound of my voice, get over there, get yourself some delicious Cooper's Beer, and watch this grand final, this set of grand finals coming up. As we mentioned, Division III will feature Calgary and Chicago. That'll be the next game here on Cooper's Field. As there was a big swing, no ding right there, looking for one of the roos, and this one out of the pack in front, looking for Ben Carpenter, Wanyanwu, and Chippy takes the mark. Chippy will go back. And slot it through. 8th goal of the game for the Austin Crows. They go to 8-4-52. It's out to a 40-point advantage. Golden Gate, 2 straight 12 with less than 4 minutes unofficially to go in the ball game.
I think I just heard the siren there next door. I peeked over a second ago, Brian. Turns out there was 10 seconds left. Denver had added another goal, going up 32-16. Oh, they're changing the scoreboard, so Quebec may have kicked one at the siren, but all for naught. We're going to see Denver come through, and almost certainly Austin will come out of this semifinal here.
That's for Play Aussie, and yeah, it'll be the Denver Bulldogs awaiting the winner of this game, which appears to be the Austin Crows, as we have a ball up once again in the center of Cooper's Field here at the Onion Creek Soccer Complex in Austin, Texas. Thanks to Visit Austin for having us once again. As the ball is up on the far side now, going after it again, and going after the football now, trying after it. Big job by Turner to bowl over his defender. Gonna hop in front, sent back into the forward line once again. Here is Campbell, had it up on a hop. Cleared out nicely there by the man in Brian Moy. And now, as opposed to Lloyd for Essendon, and the ball is still in play and eventually goes out of bounds, and a boundary throw-in as Austin is just about home, SARS.
Brian, we owe our audience an explanation. So American parlance, semifinal, that precedes the final or grand final. A lot of Aussies listening trying to figure out why we keep talking about a semifinal. This is not a half step to a prelim. This would be the equivalent of a prelim final. So we saw one prelim finish behind us in our Aussie parlance, and one prelim finishing up here in front of us.
And a hot take, can we just use quarterfinal and semifinal over there now? I mean, I know it's tradition and I know it's other stuff, but it's technically the wrong definition of the word. You know, I mean, I know Mason Cox is around here and can hear me. He can vouch to that, because he even said, what the heck is a preliminary final? I don't mind using it in the 14-page playoff, because that's kind of essentially what it is, but it's an archaic term. Let's get rid of it. Either that or change the name of the semifinal. We haven't lost the plot too much, hopefully, as here is Kenrick Tyrell, who will go in short, looking for Brian Dragus. Not much time to go. Unofficially, maybe about 90 seconds or so, as the ball comes in now. Here is, wow, well, he faked him out of his jock, did Hunter Poole. He broke his ankles and had him, what was that song, not Lower Dens, I'm trying to think of Bags, not Money, I forget, Bag Raiders, that's it. He had him the Bag Raiders song, the do-do-do-do-do. I won't distract Grant Campbell as he goes up to take the kick.
I think officially lost the plot.
Yes, it's gone now, as that one is kicked and it goes across the face. Nice mark, or almost taking the mark in front. It will be given as a free kick coming out, as a high contact was given. So not much time to go. Austin is going to go into a yet another bloody grand final. It will be their 9th. They have never lost a men's Division I grand final, and if they do, they will have to, in order to be at the top of the premiership list, they will have to beat the team they are currently tied with, the Denver Bulldogs, thanks to their victory over the Quebec Saints. And, you know, what a fantastic weekend for the Saints, beating New York. They really struggled, I think, a little bit. They were outmatched over Austin, but they did well. And really, it looks like, I mean, we didn't take a good look at it, but it sounded like they gave Denver all they could handle in the in that semifinal. Waning seconds of this one, Austin trying to squeeze one more drop of juice out of the Valencia. And there is the siren, and that is that. The Austin Crows, for the 9th time in 11 seasons, will play for a men's Division I Grand Final as they have defeated the Golden Gate Roos 52-12 in convincing fashion. Hats off to both teams for making it this far. Golden Gate, an undefeated season, comes to, well, they came to an end earlier with the loss to Denver yesterday, but their season comes to an end. As for the Austin Crows, they will have a chance to make history on home soil.
Well, now we know, Brian. All the grand finals are set. It'll be an exciting afternoon of football. Probably no surprise with what we just watched here. Austin, the class side for not just this year, but many years in the comp here. We got to see him at the Super Regionals in Ohio, and we called those games, and they ran out winners in that tournament. And I think the punters would have to say they're probably the team to pick in the finals, but Denver will certainly have something to say about that, and this is shaping up to be another hot final.
It really is. And you know what? I mean, and remember, Denver, like you said, Denver's beaten them each of the last 3. They haven't done it yet this year. Maybe they're saving this one for the big one. We're going to run through all of the grand finals. As SARS has said, 3 of them are happening right now on the men's Division 5. That game we will have recorded for you. It'll be the North Carolina Tigers against the New York Reserve/Wasatch War Goals. On Field 2 behind us, it will be Division 4 grand final between the Denver Bulldogs and the Oklahoma Buffaloes. At Division 3, which will be right here on Cooper's Field, it'll be the Chicago Swans and the Calgary Kangaroos. Coming up at 2 p.m. in men's Division 2, it'll be the Houston Lone Stars and the Seattle Grizzlies. That'll be a really good game. Behind us will be the final game of women's Division 2 between Austin and Quebec. That should be a fun game to watch as well. And then women's Division 1 back here at 3 o'clock Central at Cooper's Field between Golden Gate and Minnesota. And then the grand final of men's Division 1 between Denver and Austin. Our thanks to Dan Sarbacker. And hey, come right back because we're going to get into the finals. The best 4 or 5 hours of Aussie Rules football outside of Australia you'll ever want to see. It'll be the D3 Grand Final between Chicago and Calgary when we return. You're watching the 2024 USAFL National Championships thanks to Tasmanian here on USAFL.com.
The USAFL 2024 Nationals is brought to you by Tasmanian, the quiet pursuit of the extraordinary. Cooper's, Australian made and owned. Cooper's Beer. Visit Austin, live music capital of the world. Aussie Sports USA, the official apparel provider of the USAFL. Qantas Airlines, the spirit of Australia. The Australian Consulate General, Houston. 3 Cuts Gin. Odin Mortgage and Tax. CyberSolve IQ, the inaugural cybersecurity partner of the USAFL. And by USAFL Foundation. Play on.